Good day, everyone. I'm Renz Katigbak, a family history researcher from Lipa City, Batangas, Philippines. For 15 years, I've traced the lineage of the old gentry in my hometown, starting by sifting through the actual Lipa registros parroquiales, or the Catholic Church records. Thanks to FamilySearch, they are now digitized, and I continue to discover more ancestors at the comfort of my own home. Now that we've found our ancestors' names through FamilySearch, we can take it a step further, uncovering their stories. Today, I'll share how to use digital archives beyond FamilySearch, helping family history enthusiasts, especially those in the diaspora, discover their family stories based on documentary evidence without traveling to the Philippines or visiting the physical archives. I'll introduce key online collections that contributed significantly to my research. Let's begin by reflecting on the importance of family history research. Why do we need to do it? First is to learn about our ancestry. Filipino roots are diverse. Researching our past helps to appreciate where we come from and how history shaped our families. Second is to reconnect with family. Many Filipino families have lost touch due to migration and historical events. Family research can help us find relatives and rebuild those connections. And third is to preserve our culture. By collecting family stories and records, we pass down traditions and values to future generations, keeping our Filipino identity alive. While researching family history is exciting, there are challenges you may encounter along the way. First, limited access to records. Unlike in Western countries, the Philippines does not have a centralized system for publicly accessible vital records, making it harder to find historical documents. Second, manual browsing of archives. Many records are not fully digitized or do not have optical character recognition or OCR, requiring researchers to sift through hundreds of pages manually. And third, name changes and variations. Filipinos often have multiple name spellings or inconsistencies in documents. In digitized archives, OCR errors may misread text, requiring researchers to try different spelling variations when searching. Let's begin with local resources, specifically archives that preserve Philippine historical records. I've compiled some of the 3 Philippine digital libraries that I've personally found to be rich sources of significant data. First on the list is the Filipinos Heritage Library. It is a special library focused on Philippine history, culture, and the arts. It is a leader in digital librarianship, being the first in the Philippines to digitize and publicly share its photo and music collections. For family history research, FHL is a valuable resource offering access to rare books, photographs, and manuscripts that preserve the rich heritage of the Philippines. Researchers can find historical materials that provide insights into their ancestors' lives and contributions to the country's history. Through the Filipinas Heritage Library, I was able to obtain photos of my hometown Lipa, photos of ancestors and collateral relatives, and biographical accounts. Some of them are written in Spanish and in English. Second on the list is the UST Miguel de Benavides Heritage Library, a section of the University of Santo Tomas Library that houses the university's oldest and largest collection of ancient books. As one of the most significant educational institutions during the Spanish era, UST educated many Filipinos, including notable historical figures. If your ancestors studied at UST, this archive may contain enrollment records and other valuable documents that could aid in your research. A remarkable effort by UST has been the digitization of rare, historical, and fragile books and documents gathered throughout its long history. This initiative ensures the preservation and accessibility of these invaluable records, making them more available for researchers and family history enthusiasts. One of my most fascinating discoveries here was finding the only known photo of my great-grandfather Benigno Katigbak, along with a story about a tragedy in Lipa. I came across these in 2018 while browsing digitized copies of the magazine Renacimiento Filipino in their collection. I also obtained a copy of the Expediente Academico, or a school record of my great-grand-uncle Jose Petronio Katigbak, which included his grades and the exact date he received his liberal arts degree. Unfortunately, their collections are not OCR capable yet. And here's a sample of a school record from the Libro de Matrículas, or the Book of Enrollment, collection of the UST Digital Library. Next on my list is the Open Access Repository at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. This digital archive provides access to historical records, academic research, and digitized periodicals that can support Filipino family history research. It includes digital copies of printed materials from the Special Collections section and microfilms maintained by the UP Diliman Main Library. Here are some examples of articles I obtained from the Semana Revista Ilustrada Hispano-Filipina magazine collection of the UP Open Access Repository. Their collections have OCR capability. And here's a summary of useful collections under the Philippine Digital Libraries. Renacimiento Filipino. This is a bilingual Spanish-Tagalog magazine on science, the arts, literature, industry, trade, and agriculture. Most of the intellectual Filipinos at that time published articles in this paper. The copies are in very good condition. This collection is available at the UST and Filipinos Heritage Libraries. Libros de Matrículas are collections of late 19th century enrollment books from the UST archives containing student records and academic history. This is accessible via the UST Digital Library. Retrato Photo Archive, a collection of rare historical photographs showcasing Filipino life, culture, and important events. This is available at the Filipinos Heritage Library. Excelsior, a magazine on social life in the Philippines. It includes a chronicle from Spain, short stories by the most popular authors at the time with pictures of international events, interviews, poems, news about Hollywood and sports. Articles are in Spanish, and this is available at the UST and UP Open Access Repository. The Semana Revista Ilustrada Hispano-Filipina was a widely circulated magazine in Manila, published until 1955. This featured works by notable Filipino and international writers in Spanish, including Jesus Balmori, Claro Embrecto, and Manuel Bernabe. This is accessible via the UP Open Access Repository. Filipino cultural ties with Spain are evident due to the Philippines' over 300-year colonial period under the Spanish rule. The Spanish archives and their periodicals collection offer valuable insights into Filipino family history. These archives contain records of royal decrees, government transactions, legal documents, and published news from the Spanish colonial era. They may also include ancestral references in censuses, land records, court cases, and periodicals, which can aid in tracing family connections, social status, and historical contributions. Here are the 3 notable Spanish archives where I made significant progress in my research. First on the list is the Portal de Archivos Españoles, or PARES. It is a platform that provides access to archival records managed by Spain's Ministry of Culture. It connects researchers to documents from 11 state-owned archives, offering a wealth of digitized historical information. If your ancestors had any dealings with the Spanish government, were functionaries, students in Spain, or had military connections, PARES is a great place to start your research. And here are the search results when I looked up my hometown Lipa and my family name. A fascinating discovery here is a document on my 3 times great-grandfather Norberto Katigbak. He received the Cross of Isabel la Católica for his contribution to the commerce and agricultural wealth in Batangas in the late 19th century. During this period, Lipa became known as a major coffee supplier, making many of its families extremely wealthy. Second on the list is the Hemeroteca Digital. It is part of the Biblioteca Digital Hispanica, a project by Spain's National Library to provide public access to Spanish bibliographic heritage online. Launched in March 2007, it offers a vast collection of historical newspapers and magazines, starting with 143 titles. This digital archive serves as a key resource for researchers, offering not only access to Spanish press history but also valuable insights into historical events, figures, and news relative to the Philippines. Because of these archives, I discovered a 16-chapter memoirs of a Spanish military doctor named Santos Rubiano Herrera, which unveiled and sparked renewed interest in a forgotten chapter in the history of my hometown. I ventured into translating the work, and last year, the work got published as a book. Here are the obituaries of my direct ancestors found in various late 19th century newspapers under the Hemeroteca Digital collection. One significant discovery from this collection was an article describing my third paternal great-grandmother's funeral. It mentioned that an orchestra of about 40 composed of musicians and singers performed at the ceremony. Even more enlightening, it explained why I couldn't find her death record in Lipa. Church archives is because she actually passed away in Manila and her death was registered there. Isn't it fascinating what we can uncover from these historical sources? Last on the list is the Biblioteca Virtual de Prensa Histórica. The library has digitized a significant number of Spanish periodical titles pertaining to the Philippines. This library pretty much has the same collection as the Hemeroteca Digital, except for the nearly 900 issues of La Vanguardia Diario Filipino Independiente, spanning the period from 1932 to 1938. Here's another set of obituaries gathered from the La Vanguardia newspaper. An interesting discovery among them is my second great-grandfather Mariano Katigbak's obituary, which includes his short biography and reveals his connection to the renowned hero Dr. Jose Rizal. You can also find photographs of weddings, baptisms, and parties in the society pages of the La Vanguardia newspaper. Here are a few of the wedding photos of my relatives that I found. Here's a summary of useful documents and periodicals from the Spanish library collections. Some international libraries also contain Philippine-related materials, particularly from the American occupation period and World War II. And here are the 3 platforms that I found useful. First on the list is the Hattie Trust Digital Library. It was founded in 2008 as a collaborative of academic and research libraries, preserving over 18 million digitized items. Currently, Hattie Trust holds approximately 700,000 plus digitized documents related to the Philippines, including government documents, census data, military records, rare books, periodicals, and directories. However, access to this collection is limited to individuals located within the U.S. Interesting collections include the Leslie's Weekly, which have accounts and photos on the Spanish-American War and Philippine-American War. And the Philippine Sugar News, if you have an ancestor who was involved in the sugar business during the early 20th century, you can find their photos and short biographical notes there. From this library, I discovered my great-granduncle's awards when he studied at King's College in London from 1900 to 1903, and one of the important projects he worked on as the acting city engineer of Manila. Next on the list is the Southeast Asian Newspapers collection. It offers valuable insights into the Philippines during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It includes newspapers in Spanish and English that documented historical events, political shifts, and societal changes. Significant collections include La Democracia, La Independencia, and El Heraldo de la Revolucion. These newspapers shed light on events or persons involved in the Philippine Revolution and the short-lived First Philippine Republic. El Renacimiento, its Tagalog section Muling Pagsilang, and Cable News American chronicled early 20th century events. This library truly enhanced my research collection and greatly helped me in writing the biography of my great-granduncle, Jose Petronio Katigbak. By providing a rich paper trail, it allowed me to uncover key details of his life. He was without a doubt the most accomplished individual in our family and was even recognized as a Philippine nation builder. From this archive, I also uncovered new details about the tragic death of my great-grandfather. It's no surprise that he was honored with a touching epitaph inscribed on his tomb, Murió heroicamente en el cumplimiento de su deber, which translates to, he died heroically in the line of duty. Here's another set of obituaries of relatives from the library, enriching further my family history collection. Last on the list is Trove. It is a free online database of Australian digital content, including books, images, and documents. It is owned by the National Library of Australia and collaborates with hundreds of organizations. Although primarily focused on Australian content, Trove is also a valuable resource for Filipino family history and genealogy research. One key feature is its Tribune newspaper collection, which covers Philippine events, especially from the American occupation to World War II. In their Tribune newspaper collection, I found the obituary of my second great-grand-aunt Segunda Katigbak, known as the first love interest of the hero Jose Rizal, an advertisement of my great-grand-uncle Felino Katigbak's real estate business in Tagaytay, and the birth announcement of my dad's eldest sister. And here's a summary or list of collection of periodicals that further enhanced my research data. Here are some essential steps for searching historical newspapers. First, check the available newspapers to see which ones are included in the collection. Search by name, location, or event to narrow down irrelevant articles. Use optical character recognition and filters to refine your search and locate keywords efficiently. Check the document descriptions, as they may contain valuable details even if the full text is not digitized. Verify and cross-reference findings with other sources to ensure accuracy. And last, request copies through email if the document is not available online. To wrap up the session, here are some key takeaways. Combining multiple sources help piece together family history. Once you've gathered information, be sure to cite your sources. Patience is key. Each discovery brings you closer to your roots. With careful research and persistence, you can uncover the stories of your ancestors and preserve their legacy. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope this presentation has provided useful insights into Filipino family history research using digital resources. I'd love to answer any questions or hear about your own research experiences. You can connect with me through these platforms such as Facebook, my website Renz Katigbak, and my Instagram account. Maraming salamat.